Nice.
Welcome.
I think we did it.
Sweater.
Ugly sweater. We're hanging loose. We're Tiger
the-
Woods putting. We didn't give Bill the memo because we was going to be our secret surprise guest here. It's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens, or St. John, Indiana, or Lincoln Park, Chicago, wherever Mr. Bloom's at.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got Bill Bloom live virtually here. It's been almost 6 months since the last time you were on.
I think so. It's been a few months now.
Well, we're goofy. We should have had you on before.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, you can introduce yourself, or we could talk about how you are Amazon best-selling author, founder of an app. You host your own Retire As You Desire podcast. I think you got a TV show now.
Kinda, yeah. I would say yes. Yep. That's a good one.
Did we miss anything else on there?
Father of 2 goofball kids. Lovely wife. Just having fun right now.
Lincoln Way East, superb goalie.
Yeah, I don't know if I still hold all the records, but those were the glory days.
The next time I drive down the Grange, I'll swing through the gym over at Lincoln Way East and see if the Bill Bloom save record is still up there.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. That'll be
actually, you know what? On top of a couple of weeks ago, Adam and I we have a wager on Adam kicking some field goals for the Bears.
Oh my God, that would be cool.
We should bring you down and get you in goalie mode and see what we can do on penalties.
Ooh.
That would be awesome.
I bet Bill could probably kick a longer field goal than me. I mean, so goalies would always have to take goal kicks, right? So they are literally, that is the same almost motion. I'm sure you can make a 60-yarder. Yeah or no?
Maybe 70.
Okay. Hell yeah.
With the wind.
Behind my back, yeah. That would be great.
All right.
Make sure we stretch because we don't want to pull any muscles now that we're older.
Yeah, the old age sports bets are that's how they get you.
They do.
Oh, yeah. When we were playing Monday Night Soccer League, a bunch of our buddies just kept getting hurt. And I was like, I think there's a sign here. I should probably stop doing this because I don't want to break something.
Yep. That's how it goes.
Well, speaking of stretching, we need to maybe stretch some budgets here for some folks and kind of talk about a book that a lot of people have read. I know you've read it, Bill. I've read it. Adam, I'm guessing you've
read it.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Ugly Sweater Dad. But as we go into 2025, we need to help people shift their mindsets a little bit so they don't feel like they're constantly behind the 8 ball, so that 2025 can be that year of change for you if you've been trying to buy a house and you feel like affordability has been an issue, or you've been forced to make questionable decisions on insurance products or financial planning products because your budget's it feels like it's just been eroded and cut like thinly sliced salami at the deli. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest philosophies or the foundational thought there on that book is paying yourself first, right, Bill?
It's a prolific book. I mean, I don't know how many millions of copies were sold of that, but the big premise, my biggest takeaway was saving cash doesn't do the job. Putting your cash into assets, whether it's real estate, investments, that's the name of the game. Because if you look at the value of the actual US dollar over the past 100 years, it's a sliding scale down because of inflation, and we're in an inflationary period. So a lot of people say to me, we have a 4% CD, a 5% CD, whatever the case may be. I'm like, well, inflation's still 7%, so you're still negative too. You need to have the mindset to have, okay, if we can make 7 to 10 or have that growing in a real estate vehicle, that's a different story. And your mindset's going to determine your outcome 100% of the time. So if you think that you can get ahead, you probably can. And if you think that life's always a problem, life is always going to be a problem. So just having that mindset in the first place is going to set you up for success and or failure. It's just your thoughts.
If you aren't living, you're dying. Well,
yeah.
Before we hopped on it, Adam and I were talking about an investment project and some things. And, one thing that kind of goes on there is you have to understand what your cost of capital is, right? Before you worry about the return. So how do we get to your cost of capital? Well, what did it cost? Like, what are all of those other things that you had to do to acquire the money to then invest that money? Taxes being one of the biggest things that take a dent out of people's savings, and it's something that we're always trying to mitigate, right? So how do we get to that spot? We know we have some tax code changing. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But going back to the idea of investing money or not just having idle cash, I think part of what goes on in people's budgets is idle cash just gets, it seems like it just gets zapped really quick. What subscription can I get now? Oh, Hulu changed their price. Oh, this place increased their price. And it's like, well, I had an extra $3,000 sitting in the bank. What's it going to hurt? And that just keeps eroding and eroding and eroding. And next thing you know, you're scrambling and now you're borrowing money on credit cards.
Yeah.
Which, Mr. Bloom, you have designed an app, and we'll talk about the app again too on that. But you think credit cards are probably the number one destroyer of wealth?
I think so. That and not understanding the value of your actual dollar. I saw an Alex Hormozy post the other day, and he said, yeah, it's great to get the $200 Jordans, right? You spend $200 on a pair of shoes, but if you were to invest that money just in the S&P 500 for the next 20 years, you're missing out on $6,000. And if you do that for $10,000, $100,000 over a 20-year period, then you're talking real money. And that's sort of like the issue. No one's educated. We've talked about this so many times on the show, is people don't understand how to do the math in the first place. And you're kind of stuck. And that's why the Fed is printing money, is to create inflation and to help out the people per se. But whenever money's printed, you lose the value of your dollar. And that's why putting the dollars to work is a huge benefit. And plus, credit cards, 20%, 30%, 40%. Like, how do you get out of this debt? It's really hard to do that. So what I've done is I've really stopped using my credit card and I'm using my debit card. And everyone talks about points. I've got a dear friend. He's like, well, but I'll get points. I'll get points. I'll get points. And he's always spending money, but they are like almost $1 million in bad debt. So it's a habitual thing.
$1 million at 30%. I mean, and I think you just end up in that spot, and you just, well, what's another swipe?
Right. I mean, you're hoping and praying.
Yeah, I think something Bill said is just to bring it to light and like really pinpoint it, is that every dollar that you use has an opportunity cost.
True.
Every dollar. So whether you park in a CD or you spend it on the Jordans, and if people, like, you're right, if they could understand how that works, then maybe they might be a little more wise with where they put that money. In that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad really just talks about like use your money, and it doesn't. I don't know if it explicitly says that in the book, but if I'm going to spend $1 instead of invest it, that just amplifies that opportunity cost, because not only are you getting it out of your system, it's gone, you're consuming it, but then you're missing out on the 7, 8, 9, 10, 12% compounding over X number of years. So every dollar you spend has an opportunity cost, every one, no matter where you put it.
So true. So true.
And, you know, we obviously, real estate's a pretty integral part of my life, my business, Adam's life, Adam's business. Bill, you know that, you know, I guess most people probably don't know for a fact, and you don't have to go all the way into it, but I know that real estate, you have a hankering for it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a great opportunity or avenue to not only have solid returns, but it also provides opportunities for tax mitigation, right? But he's got his eyebrows up. What do we got?
It was a nod.
This is a fun one. So a couple ideas for people is, if you have one working spouse, and if your spouse doesn't have a job or a full-time job, you may want to have them become a real estate professional. And this is just pure ideation land. If your spouse doesn't work, you could buy real estate and have them become the real estate professional, you have to qualify. It's not like a walk in the park, but you don't need your real estate license to do this. But you could have huge tax savings if you buy investment properties. And that's where you're able to do cost segregation studies, potentially accelerate depreciation. And if you and your spouse both work, and this is specifically for married people, if you both work, one of the things you can do is buy short-term rentals, basically turn it into an Airbnb, a VRBO. My wife and I have done this, and that way you could do a cost segregation study and accelerate depreciation and have tax write-offs for the year that you do this in. And again, there's rules, there's regulations that you have to be careful of, especially the length of stays for the short-term rental. But if you're sick of paying taxes, it doesn't have to be part of your life, right? There's oil and gas investments. You could invest in solar. There's a lot of different ways that you can try and mitigate taxes, but you have to work with a professional who has either these capabilities or these connections, or just the wherewithal to say, how do I cut my tax bill in half? How do I mitigate that almost completely? And there's ways to do it. You just have to want to do the work. And at the end of the day, my friends, a lot of people don't want to do the work. They want things done for them. And that's really the truth behind people who get ahead and people who don't get ahead. You have to take action.
I think you can't put a dollar value on it. Like, speaking of like quality professionals, a quality accountant, one that understands that it takes 3 or 4 streams to make a river, and then to make sure that that river is not going through the IRS dam, making sure that thing frees. It's a free range river. Yeah. And that's one thing that I really like. I see people that are like mid-level investor, self-employed people that they want to skimp on that extra cost, if you will, of a quality accountant, and you're going to spend $600 with this person versus $2,000 or $3,000 with XYZ person. But that that difference, the delta there, $2,400, you could probably get that back tenfold by correct tax strategy.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a huge one. It's one of my favorite sayings is price is only an issue in the absence of value. If you don't value high level advice, you're not going to pay for it. And if you're not going to pay for it, where are you going to learn it from? You go and buy the books then. Listen to different shows like this or different podcasts or whatever the case may be, but you need to supplement that somewhere else. And paying the money to someone is a shortcut. It's really a shortcut.
And that person, they're in the business of making money too. They love getting that pocketbook. So, as we talk, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the opportunity cost of dollars. I think one thing I can't stress enough, and I know that it helps me a lot, if I feel like I got like 2 months of just sliding in a row. And I know, Bill, you've probably felt that. Adam, you've probably felt that too. We've all run our own businesses, right? I got to go back to the absolute roots of everything and get out a piece of paper and a pencil and just write it all out. And you'll quickly find where that hole is at. Do you agree? Like, I don't know, you guys have a different opinion on that, but for me, if I cannot visualize it granularly, I don't know how to say that damn word, granular or microscopically, I won't find the hole.
Yeah.
And I won't know how to fix the hole.
Yeah. Well, I think you need to get a not so rusty putter then. Not rusty, get a brand new one. No, just kidding.
I can't afford it because I've been opportunity cost. I'm still going to 3-putt no matter what. I need to make a grip.
Yeah, I think that's self-realization. You got to tell yourself the truth as to what's going on, whether you're over leveraged on credit cards, you're having business problems. Again, you need to take action to change what's going wrong. So, for instance, if you have a ton of credit card debt, stop using it. Put them away.
Yeah.
Just put it away. Take it off your phone. It's too easy to spend money. You can just double click, you're done. Just stop having everything linked. Make it harder for you and then create that friction.
Freeze your asset. I saw a guy freeze his credit cards. And so if he has to use them, he has to thaw it out and take away Frozen assets.
Hey, I love it. That's the new way the IRS come get you. They're dropping everything in a freezer.
Yeah.
But I like that's a one. It's a stark visual, but I mean it's a real thing. So how do you like if you don't have that discipline? But I think that's the other side of it, right? From the rich dad poor dad theory is if you consistently look at life in front of the 8 ball instead of behind the 8 ball, your entire perspective changes. Now it goes, I'm not just strangling myself into a situation or my cash flow into a spot where I'm just everything's going to these credit cards, and I'm setting my goal first, and then after I'm allocating my little bit of a goal for my budget, then I'm knocking out the bad stuff. Yeah, it just like that mindset right there can change. It can change the course of your financial direction in 12 months, without a doubt.
Yeah, and it's going to take time. That's the thing that people wanted done yesterday, the Amazon effect, and it's just not going to work that way.
It's kind of funny how the Amazon effect is usually what erodes people's thing. You know, these real easy things, double clicking to pay on your phone. I think that's one thing. Like, you know, I thought, like, very personally for me, changing Apple Pay to an asset-based account, not a credit card account. You want to force some discipline upon yourself? Do that. You won't be up at 2 a.m. ordering goat chains because they look funny.
Yeah.
I know we talked short-term rental stuff too. I think over leverage sometimes is. You did say about people over leveraging.
Yeah.
Short-term rental, that play works. Obviously, it sounds like you've had some success with it. We know countless other people that have success with it, but I think that when you like watch Instagram and all these other people and like talk about, oh, you just borrow this from the bank and then get like a 10% carryback from the seller, and then you just have tons of leverage, but you maybe don't feel all of it. That erodes the benefit there too.
Yeah. Be careful what the internet says. Obviously, we're on a live stream right now, but those people may not be telling the truth, or they don't know what they're talking about, or they've never done it. Listen, a lot of the social media stuff is nonsense. That's not where you should be getting your financial advice from most of the time. The truth is, it's better to figure out who could be a huge mentor for you. Everybody knows someone who's wealthy, right? Just pick up the phone and call them and say, I would love to take you to lunch and pay with my debit card so I don't spend any more money on my credit card. And just ask you how you did it. Or can you talk to me on the phone? Like, what's stopping you from doing that? Literally nothing. It costs you what, $30, $50? And a little bit of time.
We going to Jimmy John's?
Yeah.
Yeah. All that stuff costs a ton. But I that's a very great point. Like, I've had lunches, breakfast, coffees with you. I've had them with Adam. I've obviously got a couple of real estate agents, Nick and Tony, on the show a few different times, having those conversations with those guys. I don't think that, I mean, Adam might have breakfast with you. He might play around and golf with you, but
yeah,
accessible person right here to have a conversation with about it. Bill, I know that you're accessible. You love to talk about this stuff. You love the mindset things. I'm happily go out to lunch with someone, explain to them the back end of mortgage any day of the week so they can get ahead.
Well, what I found is the people that are most successful are most willing to share because they did that, and it's how they got there, and that is just what you do. You know, like someone shared it with me, so it's free. There's no subscription. You don't have to pay for it. You know, it's just like, hey, have a coffee with Bill, and he'll share what he's learned, and it's genuine. Because what kind of stake do they have in whether or not you listen? None. Like, there's no gotcha. Right. It's a very healthy situation, and I think that's more people should do it.
Yeah.
And Bill asked, well, what's stopping you? And I would argue that it's just fear, like nonsensical fear that of rejection, or I don't know what. But it just, I hope people listen to that. I hope someone's watching. And
fear, like, I mean, that's the amygdala. It's wired in your brain. We talked about like opportunity cost. Well, the fear in your brain is naturally two times more than what the actual outcome could be. Yeah. So yeah, it's a huge barrier, but we're here to knock down some barriers and make it easy and accessible bring in quality professionals that literally give the shirt off their back to talk to anyone that listens to this thing about any type insurance advice, mortgage advice, financial planning advice, how to raise two boys advice, how to raise a boy and a girl advice, like putting. Yeah, I could use a lot of putting advice. I might, but I'm lethal with a 7-iron. Maybe I'll just start putting with that.
You could. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Greenskeepers will love it.
Just deal off.
Look at that. Shot it right by there. All right, Bill. So other topics you were talking before we hopped on. 2026, we're going to see some sunsetting of some tax things.
Yeah, what do we got?
Yeah, so right now I want to say like the political aspect. I've been a political almost like a therapist for all of our clients. Like people are super pumped, people are super sad. And the reality is the Fed has a bigger role as to what happens with the money supply and inflation than what's happening in Washington right now, in my opinion. And then plus, I also want to say this, like becoming a Democrat because your parents they're a Democrat or they were, or a Republican, or you live in Illinois and it's a Democratic state. It's a really great excuse for you not to have to think and keep you lazy. Again, it comes down to doing action. Just because you live in a state or just because your parents were a certain way, think freely, right? Because if you just follow what everyone else is doing or their opinions or their feelings on things, a lot of it's nonsense on both sides, right? I'm not on one side or the other. But I want to say from a tax perspective, we have a new regime in office right now, right? We're completely Republican across the board for a couple years now. I'm assuming that the tax laws are going to get extended because they have a pretty clear runway. And that would be pretty favorable because we're in historically a lower tax environment. It doesn't feel like it, right? Doesn't feel like it. But, back in the 40s, wars are very expensive to run. Taxes were in the 90% in the highest tax bracket, over $200,000 of earned income. Obviously, things are a lot different now. But if you are over the estate tax thresholds, which is about $27 million for a married couple, that's something to really look out for because that's going to be sunsetting. Obviously, something new will come from that. I don't know what yet. But from a tax bracket standpoint, I don't think we're going to see a ton of changes here. So it kind of gives us pretty clear runway to continue to plan how we were doing for people. And I think that we have a huge opportunity to do Roth IRA conversions. I've been doing them. And I mean, Tony, right? Doing Roth IRA conversions, do them now, especially if we have an extension of these tax brackets. Again, every situation is different, but I love to have tax-free income for our clients and for myself for future retirement, because that way I don't have a relationship with the government from a tax perspective on my investable assets. And then looking at the Section 179 IRS codes for accelerated depreciation, that may be back to 100%. So if you buy over either 6,000 or 7,000 pound vehicle for your business, you could take a full 100% write-off in that year. So there's a lot of different moving parts from a tax perspective that you can do with your money and lower your taxes legally. But the thing is, you also have to spend money, and you have to have the money to spend on these items in order to qualify. So I find it very hard to find a very progressive and forward-thinking accountant. I think most of them have been trained, just do things one way. This is how it works. It's hard to find those really great ones, but there's a few of them out there, that's for sure.
I think it's actually an interesting parallel. We're talking about insurance the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I think you have an industry like insurance where it was just so rigid and similar for so long that finding someone that was noticeably ahead of the curve is difficult. So I think accounting, it changes a little bit, but it's been rather the same since 1986, 1989. And so you just have these people that are built a business and an approach that was from a rigid standpoint and don't want to necessarily look forward. But when you look forward, look at what our debt to GDP is.
Huge.
At some point, the tax man is going to cometh.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there's how many trillions of dollars in pre-tax 401k and IRA money? 30, 40 trillion?
Really just, I know I've had arguments with people of a certain age because the mindset was always shoved into 401k and everyone's trying to avoid taxes now. And, you know, like if you just start to read the tea leaves, it's like what you're really doing is you're making a contract with Washington and saying, here's my money. And they're saying, well, we don't know how much tax we're going to take, but we'll let you know when we figure out how much we need, when we need. And that just seems like if people don't, you know, generally trust the government, why are you giving them all of your money and saying, tax me whatever you want whenever you figure it out? Because what Bill just said is how many trillions are there? And if there's only so much money to get, that is one big juicy steak for them to look at and say, all right, well, this money's never been taxed.
Yeah, Social Security is looking a little insolvent. How are we going to drive some dollars over there?
Well, you know, there's a really great way to fix that problem. Is like there's 70 million kids in the U.S. If you were to give them all, let's say $1 million, I'm just throwing out a number. Sounds like socialism, but it's not what I'm talking about here. If you set up an account, right? We're spending billions and trillions of dollars on wars and this, that, and the other. If you put that money into an account, or if you have someone like Elon Musk or someone who has hundreds of millions of dollars, set up a foundation, put the money for every kid in America. Essentially, you're not going to need Social Security in the future. You're going to be able to self-insure your health, right? The Medicare and Medicaid aspect. It solves a lot of those problems and only allow, 3, 4, 5% withdrawal on that money a year at a certain age. It wouldn't take that much to solve a lot of these problems into the future. If you really think about it, it's a numbers thing. So just throwing that out there is food for thought.
Great idea.
I'm not a socialist, but
I
think that could be a solution.
Are you going to be the president next?
I would. I'm over 35, so legally I'm qualified. Yeah.
Let's
Born
go.
here.
We're start writing you in. So that way we know a guy.
What about this app? Tell us about that.
So Diane Money has been a complete journey over the past couple of years. So right now, we're able to show you for all the Mint users, the Mint.com users, now that that's retired, rest in peace, Mint. That was a great app. It was really great because it gave you clarity as to where your money's going every month. We have those same capabilities to show you where you're spending your money every month. So Tony, it goes back to what you say all the time. Where are the dollars? We show you every month where you're spending your money. In and of itself, everyone should be using that. That way you don't have to guess anymore. Oh, I spent 10 grand on XYZ, or I spent $4,500 on eating out this month. It's like, well, no wonder why your credit cards are super high. And then we're able to give you customized recommendations based on your spending habits to show you how to get rid of your credit card debt or student loan debt or car loans, whatever it is. You could put all of your debt into here and we'll do the math for you to say you may want to look at this one first, this one second. And with being able to see where you're spending your money every month, that's where you're going to find that missing money, that phantom money that's always escaping you, and say, you know what? I'm going to conscientiously say, I only have $100 this month for Starbucks. I'm going to make it my Friday day. It's going to be my great day. And I'm going to really focus on getting ahead. And that's where you have to do the work. But I've built the technology with an incredible development team to kind of do it for you. So it's pretty remarkable to see the success that we're having. And we're looking to roll this out for a couple banks and credit unions as well for their people because they see the value in this. So
that's cool.
Interesting journey right now.
A lot of people who are trying to help and add value in this way to the general public, a lot of it is the Dave Ramsey, rice and beans, but like what you said was, you can still enjoy the things that you enjoy responsibly.
Totally.
And that might be a better path to getting better habits. And that's just a really cool app. I'm excited for you, Bill. That's really cool.
Thank you, Adam. You're spot on with that. Think about it. If you're used to eating out every day at lunch, getting your morning coffee, all that stuff, and if you're behind, it's going to be really stinking painful to have to completely change your lifestyle. That habit's going to take months to build. So we're not saying go rice and beans. And I like a lot of the things that Uncle Dave Ramsey says. Like, I think he's spot on with a lot of stuff, especially listening to broke people. We brought on a new financial advisor to my practice a few months ago, and they just bought a new house, and we were out to dinner with them. And the guy is sharp as can be, but he knows that we have a couple rental properties. And he asked me a question: should we keep it or rent it or sell it? All of my friends are telling me to get rid of it. I go, well, are your friends broke? And he goes, yeah. And that's totally like a Dave Ramseyism. And I go, never listen to broke people. And if they're not willing to do the work, if you guys live 10 minutes away, you're going to build another asset for you.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't need the money from the down payment. That's a whole nother story. But understanding that things will take time, you just have to really let go and trust the process. Trust the universe to let things happen to you. The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer is probably one of the best books you could ever read. Just finished it. Probably changed my life. And I'm almost 40. And you have to let go and trust and have the people in your life give you value to help you. And when you stop stressing, that's when the magic happens. You have to let go of the stress, whether it's business, life, relationships. You have to let go. Because if you're tense, your guardian angels aren't going to be able to help you figure out, clues and paths. Or when they give them to you, you're so stressed out that you don't see them. Just got to let go.
Spitting wisdom here. I don't know if anybody else is listening.
Well, I hope someone's listening, like once or twice. But it's funny that you talk about don't listen to broke friends or like having the right people around you. I can't tell you enough. My face lights up when I see Bill on the caller ID. It lights up when I see Adam on the caller ID. Because I know this is going to be a quality conversation. And no matter, we could talk about the weather, but we'll probably figure out some way to find an angle on how to manipulate it and make a couple bucks or something. I don't know. Yeah. Don't listen to me, government. All right, Bill, how do, so Diane Money, we were talking, it's not an app form now, it's a website form?
Totally a website. Go to dianemoney.com. You can go straight to the site and create an account there. I mean, for $9 or $27 a month to have customized solutions sent to you at the beginning of the month, I don't know. Is that better than Starbucks every day and get you on a better financial path? And
I would agree.
You can add goals to that too.
We've known each other how long now? Since 2007?
Yeah.
You've heard me talk about people's money habits since 2007. There's probably some good logic in this app.
Yeah. Well, you have to know where it's going first. It's like a self-auditing tool where you don't have to go in and create a spreadsheet, or I don't even know how to use Excel, but you don't have to do the work. It's done for you. That's sort of like the Amazon effect for your money.
The scary part is downloading, because like what you're describing, that probably sparks fear in a lot of people. You mean I gotta look at where my money's going to know? Yeah. That seems scary. Well, just go to the damn website. Just try it. What's the worst that could happen?
Oh, here, I'm gonna tell you. You want to know what the best is gonna happen? How about this? For the people that do watch this or listen to it or share this with everyone, if you show me that you've signed up for Diane Money and you buy a house and use me for your mortgage in 2025, how about I just knock $595 off our lender fee for you?
Where do I sign up again?
Exactly. You can't sign up 100 times for yourself. Okay. There's no cash value on that, but that's the level of belief I have in it and the level of stuff behind the system, and the people involved in it. That's how much I care about it, and I want to see people succeed. I don't want to hear about, interest rates or, hey, the Fed's cutting the rate at 2.30 today. That doesn't have the real profound impact on changing your life. So 2025, you tell me code Diane Money when we apply for your mortgage, and I see that you've went there, you've subscribed, you've engaged. Knock $595 off your loan fee there. How about that?
3 pairs of Jordans.
3 pair. I don't know, man. Last pair of Jordans I bought were $395.
That would be amazing, Tony. Thank you.
All right. So DianeMoney.com. Bill, how else can people get in touch with you?
Email is great. We can do bill@bloomfinancial.us. We have bloomfinancialco.com. We have a TV show, the Retire As You Desire show. So that's been pretty fun. Just doing a lot of stuff similar to this, a lot of mindset things, like where you could actually retire as you desire out of the United States. How does that work? Just a lot of random stuff that people don't think about. All the values there. And those are great places.
Awesome. Adam, they can get you bottom of the screen, adamismyagent.com.
That's it.
You give me at applywithjr.com. I'm serious. I want to see some code Diane Money people get involved here and make that, whether it's the first house, a move up house, a move down house, an investment property. I don't care. If I see that you're willing to make those right financial decisions, I'm right in here, right in there with you. We connect you with the right people, hook you up with the right stuff. It's the best way. We might as well take the next 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas from us. Merry Christmas from Bill. Happy holidays. This is our Christmas gift to you guys. Bring someone awesome like this who's, you got a couple Amazon bestsellers out there. He's got a podcast. He's got a TV show. I've seen him on Fox News once or twice. Can't do it without an awesome friend like that. And we'll try to have you on a little bit more this coming year. How about that?
Would love that. This is so much fun, guys. I really appreciate you. And I love what you guys are doing because it's amazing. You're just trying to give value to the people. And there's more stuff like this is needed in order to help people. So big congratulations to both of you guys for doing such a great job over the years.
Well, love you, brother. I'll call you after this. We'll talk. So see you 2025.
See you guys.
I'm done. Cut the show.